Greetings, Indie Warriors! Old Gamer Joe here with Silent Signs, and it's an impressions video. We haven't done one of these in what feels like forever, of a Thanksgiving Day release. This is post-Thanksgiving, but this game came out here in North America on Thanksgiving Day, and that title is called Aliisha, the Oblivion of Twin Goddesses.
Seeing as this game's about twins and co-oping things, we figured why not co-op this impressions video.
I have to say, Silent Signs, we went into this game thinking we were going to do a full review, and we were going to play it co-op, so the first thing you should probably know about this game is that it might not be the type of co-op you're expecting. It's local wireless, from what we can tell anyways, which means that two people will need a copy of the game, and you'll also need two Switches in order to actually do the co-op. So we couldn't really do that. So I would describe Aliisha as more of a 3D puzzle game than anything else. We've done 3 of the, quote, rooms, I guess you could call them, and what you're doing is you're switching between the two different twin characters. One of them can fly around. They're kind of like a Roomba, I guess.
More like, what was that robot in Portal? 𝐦𝐤𝐤?
Yeah, okay.
More like a 𝐦𝐤𝐤.
Yeah, one of them's like 𝐦𝐤𝐤 and can fly to out-of-reach areas. The other one's more of an on-foot character. They both control a little bit differently from one another, and they work together to solve these complex puzzles. They're really quite large areas that you have to slowly explore, and so far, based on these 3 puzzles, which have taken about 3.5 hours to get through, you're more or less finding random objects and bringing them from point A to point B. It's very clumsy, in my opinion.
Something to note about the difference between the way the two characters play. The robot twin girl is first person, so if you are sensitive to motion sickness, particularly with the lower frame rates on the Nintendo Switch, this one's going to bother you. The other twin plays from the third person perspective, but honestly, with the choppiness of the frame rate, it's not a whole lot better.
Yeah, I am not usually prone to motion sickness when you have a locked frame rate in games, but Switch games do often do this to me. I'm not the most sensitive person to video games, but yeah, this frame rate's kinda a little bit all over the place.
There's also some differences in the way that these characters can experience their environments. So the character that is not a robot, the one that you're playing as a girl, she can do a scan of the room, and that will determine the various areas that you can interact with, whereas the robot doesn't have a scan in the same sense. This robot has like a little indicator that pops up whenever there's something you can interact with. Sometimes that means it's something you can pick up. Sometimes that just means it's text that you can read very slowly as it scrolls across the screen.
And the bottom line is it's really clumsy. It's a lot of just bumping into walls, hoping you find the right objects. The puzzles, in my opinion, are not very well designed, and it's just monotonous and boring, unfortunately.
And the part that I have to bring up, because it's one of my least favorite things about Nintendo consoles from the last few decades, motion controls. This game uses motion controls, and not well.
They're bad. They're really bad, actually. At one point, we solved the puzzle simply by just going back and forth, swinging the Joy-Con over and over again, which I don't think was the design.
Yeah, there's a constellation that you're meant to trace out on a wall, and instead of doing the tracing motion like the game was indicating for us to do, we basically jerked off our motion controllers and hope for the best.
Yeah, indeed. So I don't know, I'm struggling to really understand who this game might be for. It's a concept that's kind of cool. You know, you have these twins, they're going through these big puzzles, but when the puzzles aren't good, the controls are bad, the performance is kind of not great. I'm just having a tough time recommending this for anyone currently.
You're also fed a lot of extraneous text that doesn't really seem to do with anything other than a cool history that they're trying to create for an area that is, from what I can tell, made up. I don't think this is really...
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure this whole thing is rooted
historically
in
accurate.
Fantasy. But it's hard to care, honestly, about what's happening in the story, because everything is just kind of poorly executed in this game, unfortunately. So, overall, tough to recommend this game. I have no desire to go back and solve the puzzle we're currently stuck on. There are no guides at the time of this recording, so I don't even have the will to want to wait and go back.
I like the idea in theory. In practice, certainly not so much, and I just hope we can leave motion controls like this in the past.
Yeah, so sorry we couldn't bring you a full review on this one. It's just a little too frustrating, but in fairness to the game, we didn't complete it or even really get far enough where we can warrant doing a review.
And unfortunately, we didn't have a second Switch to test out the multiplayer aspect of it. I wish there was at least an online multiplayer option if you don't live with someone else who has a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, so let us know if you end up checking out Aliisha, the Oblivion of Twin Goddesses. Maybe we're crazy, maybe it's just not for us. We'd love to hear in the comments below what you think of this 3D puzzler. That is something that's not for me, but it's different.
Certainly puzzling.